Hello, today I'm joined by my guest Daniel Hamilton Charlton from Property Searches Direct. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Bit sticky around the edges. It's a bit hot today, but yeah, very well. Thanks,
It
David. It's
it
been a long
it
time since we
is.
last caught up.
I was about to say it's unseasonably warm, but we're getting used to these 2 or 3 days of summer that we get thrown our way all at once. Um,
Indeed.
Daniel, something that is hotting up as well is sort of industry conversation about how we can um, possibly help ourselves, also help our customers in terms of shaving time off an average transaction. It's something that has not gotten any better, surprise, surprise, on its own. And it's something that some of the greatest minds in the industry have been trying to sort of play around with and find better ways of doing things. You guys have long been very strong advocates for an agent and also a seller getting their house in order a lot earlier in the cycle of a transaction. And although that way of thinking was possibly new, say 5 or 6 years ago when we were having those kind of initial conversations, they're now something that I think the rest of us have begun to accept is really needed because something's got to give. You
Mm.
guys and your offering at PSD has evolved, and the support that you're offering to agents is really helping them to make a difference. So I'm going to invite you, Daniel, just to give us a little bit of a background as to what you've been doing and what it is that you're currently doing to support the home buying and selling process.
Thanks, David. Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that. I mean, yeah, we are making it up as we go along. We're winging it and we're being as flexible as we need to be or can be based on consumer demand. As you know, we are a direct to consumer offering, principally dealing with searches. So we have some B2B relationships, but the majority of our support and time is spent with home movers, home sellers, and home buyers who've been coming to us now. I think it's our 8th year, where they've wanted to take more control over their purchase transaction, get answers to questions sooner. And sellers, believe it or not, for years now have been saying, how do we get better prepared? We know that it's a bit of a nightmare when it comes to transacting. We're not getting much support out of our agents, and that's not a criticism. It's just not the thing that they've got involved with. But we've been the place that people go to say, okay, what can we do to speed things up? Good analogy, I would say, for agents is, the best time to plant a tree when you're looking for shade on a really hot day is 10, 15, 20 years ago. And
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it. No one's in business at the moment in an estate agency not thinking about still existing in 10, 15, 20 years' time. So the life cycle of people thinking of selling shouldn't concern you if you've got a good business that's going to be around for some time. So there's lots of things you should really be thinking about doing. Most agents that we speak to or hear about or see across LinkedIn are genuinely wondering how they lost the instruction, how their fees have been bashed down left, right, and centre. What can change? But the reality is, and again, no criticism, is that there aren't really many true differentiators to separate one agent from another. Someone that's been living in a property 15, 20 years, walks down the high street, see a load of estate agents and go, right, I'll invite 3 or 4 of them in because any more than that is truly horrifying for me.
Yeah.
And I'll listen to them all speak, and they'll all do their song and dance. They'll all say the same things. There might be a bit of a difference in price, but the only differentiator I'm going to have for them is cost. And that's a real sad state of events. Then no one is seen as the local expert at the moment. And there's an agent in our town here. Unfortunately, he's sold out and retired now, but he didn't take on everything. And because he didn't take on everything, he was the most sought after brand that you wanted to go to because he would say no to people. He picked and chose who he wanted to
A
work
bit
with.
of scarcity in that model as well. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he decided that he didn't want to be a busy fool. He would take on the people he wanted to work with, things that were appropriately priced that he knew he had a market for, and he would sell everything. Right. And he had a few under the desk, but that's just the model that he had. But he had worked for decades to become that known brand. He got the job done. And he would, if you saw Chris walking up and down the street, you'd know it was Chris
Yeah.
walking up and down the street. But agents don't have that thing that anchors them to their marketplace. What have you got that you can engage you with people that own a property. And I see so many agents, we get leaflets through the door. Are you thinking of selling? Do you want a valuation? We're having a free valuation week. All these, are you thinking about it, doing it now type things. And the challenge with those is 98% of your market are not thinking of those things now. And 98% of your market want to engage with you for fear of getting on your lists and being pecked at to sell your property when you're not really thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
But everyone would love a relationship with a property expert because we all want to know what the market's doing. We all want to know what our values are doing. And to get the odd bit of news through wouldn't be a bad thing. But we're so scared of getting involved with that for that fear of having to say no to an agent when you asked, are you thinking of selling? Because the majority of your market isn't. So when I talk about planting seeds and growing those trees, it's like, we've created, if we get to the product, digital rooms that enable you to engage with your home seller audience and give them an environment to get themselves organized. The biggest killer to transactions at the moment is a seller organization and a lack of foresight or education from the agent to the seller to explain all of the things that they have to do to enable them to transact. And the reason why that doesn't happen is because a lot of agents maybe don't understand that process because they don't get involved with it. Some agents are scared of getting involved in that process for fear of brand damage. It's really easy to do the fun bits, the bit that's the drug in the arm. It's the we've got Taylor Green, you all get punched in the air and we've done our job. But then there's still the conveyance to go. And you have that luxury of going, well, if I don't get involved in that, I can't be blamed for when it goes wrong. Completely forgetting that actually, if you help your sellers get better prepared in an organized fashion, that transactional piece can actually go much faster and with a lot less stress, because your seller at the time of getting a sale agreed is not now panicking, trying to find the building control certificate, safety, planning, all those things they've got to put together and complete their TA form. So that's the stress we put them under. So to go out in strategy or newsletters and say, look, we're the property expert, whether you're selling or not, come and engage with us. Come and claim a space where you can organize yourself. You've got a car, right? Bet you can put your hand on your MOT, all your service history, your logbooks, all that lot. Brilliant. Everyone looks after their car, the biggest depreciating asset you can ever imagine. But we look after the paperwork for that.
Yeah, we do.
But when it comes to property, we don't really get organized until we have to. And then it comes as a shock. So if you as a property expert were to enable your homeowner audience, everyone that owns a property in your geographic area, and say, come and get one of these because you as a homeowner need to be organized. And we as your property expert are going to give you a space that you can engage with to keep yourself organized. All of your recent purchases, those people that are buying a property, you just completed on it, you hand the keys over, give them a space to put all their stuff in. Give them that handover and say, great, why do you want to do that? Your brand is in that space. If they've got a mortgage, they can capture all their mortgage details. They can capture if they've got a fixed rate, when that fixed rate ends, what time it ends, so that our system will remind when that ends. And we can bake into that reminder your broker's details. So if you want to have your broker having a constant contact with everyone with a mortgage in your area, then your room is going to deliver, or the room's going to deliver that for them. So having that constant brand reminder and having the ability for them at any point to click on a link to your valuation, get a valuation, get an appraisal page is brilliant. So you'd be seen as the local expert. And of course, you can still market through that space. We do have a marketing suite, although lots of people have got email marketing things. But again, we've got some generic links that you can attract people to that space for. And then, of course, we have the seller room. So if someone just lives in a property and they're not thinking of selling, they have a repository for all their data and a way of keeping it organized and keeping their mortgage stuff up to date. But if they're thinking of selling, they flip that to thinking of selling. Or if you're working with your sellers and you're onboarding sellers, you say, look, to sell your property actually means handing the keys over to the next buyer, right? So although, yes, we get very excited about the marketing piece and introducing our buyers to you and doing's done and agreeing sales, that's the exciting bit. We're actually really focused on getting you moved, because until you complete, we're not getting paid. No one's getting paid. So we're focused on that. So we're going to invite you into a space that's going to make it very evident what needs to be done. And in that space, we're going to upload our property particulars and the EPC, and we're going to put the memorandum of sale in there when it happens. And you're going to be putting in your paperwork. And If you work with property searches direct to help with your onboarding, as some of our agents do, they effectively outsource the IDAML bit. So we invite the client in to do IDAML. IDAML goes into the property room. We upload the title deeds, title plan, a title insights report, environmental report, local authority search, all these things to be put in one place so that at the point at which you do get a sale agreed, your client has already been presented with the space to get organized. And when they go into a room, they're going to go, hang on, a TA6 form, what's that? Where do I get that? They're going to come to you and go, right, my room says I need a TA form. You go, brilliant. Yes, absolutely. You're going to get one of those from your property lawyer. Do you have one? No, I don't. Okay, well, we'd recommend this, this, and this one. So if you engage with them, that's where you get your TA forms. You complete them and put them in your room. So having this evidence that's surfaced to somebody incites a very much more collaborative, consultative environment that's focused on the end goal, rather than the quick fix, the shot in the arm, we've got it sale agreed, and then worry about the detritus later. And that's what this whole environment's about.
And I think that's fascinating, because I think that it's been a long time coming. So it's taken us time as agents to understand that there is a little bit of finesse and money to be earned in slow nurture. So things that don't deliver you quick wins today or tomorrow, always the things that tend to be sort of very shiny things that we as agents gravitate towards. But if you can engage with your public earlier, if you can be seen to be helpful and supportive, to be giving without necessarily expecting anything in return, the conventional wisdom today is that will come back to you. And we're not just talking about karma. That's business sense, isn't it?
It is. And let's not forget that we're not only about a long-term game. That's just part of it. The home owner room is just the long-term play. The home seller room is the here and now. So to be sat in someone's room and them say, right, how are you going to move me? What's the plan? Rather than sit there and talk about the stuff that everyone else talks about, you're talking about a collaborative environment and inviting them into a digital space where they are going to be getting all their stuff together, where their protocol forms are going to go, where we're going to surface their title deeds, their register, their title plan, environmental, all these things are going to go in there, and it's going to present to them all the stuff they've got to pull together. Loads of agents aren't going to be talking about that. And if they have 3 or 4 appointments and they're deciding who they go with, who are they going to go with? The one that said they're going to get them to sale agreed, or the one that had a proper conversation about getting them moved and the steps they've got to take to be organized to enable that to happen, and be honest about the state of the fact that 30% of transactions fall through, predominantly because things take too long. And the quick fix for that is better organization. If we get a sale agreed on your property tomorrow, but we have to wait 5 weeks to get a contract out, it's sending the wrong message out to your buyer.
Yeah.
If we spend 5 weeks of marketing getting you prepared and we get sale agreed and the contract goes out the day after, the pressure's on the buyer, not on you. And our choice of buyer then becomes key. Have we qualified them? Do they have the deposit? Do they have a financial wherewithal? Have they got a conveyancer instructed? If they're ticking those boxes, we've got more of a chance. But then we're asking them to get their searches paid for. We're asking them to get their survey underway. Those are quick fixes, but no one's going to get their survey underway, or they're going to get their mortgage application properly signed off until their conveyancer's got a contract. And if that takes 5 or 6 weeks, you can see how this impacts transaction timescale, and then people's inner voice saying, are these people serious? Yeah. So the more time you can spend with a seller, with an environment to show and present to them how serious you are as an agent to help them get prepared, the more you will stand out from the crowd as the standout agent. And then, of course, if you've done any marketing about your home owner rooms, and then you're going into a homeowner's room and say, okay, you're now thinking of selling, you're in someone's front room, and they go, oh yeah, you're the guys that are giving them. You go, yeah, you're just late to the party. You're going to have to start from scratch and find this stuff now. Other people that have got one of these are already prepared. And when we go and meet them for an appointment, they go, we've used your system. We've got everything together. Isn't it amazing? We're ready to go. Whereas you're starting from scratch. So, but I guess the point for this was, having been in agency and my business partner's been in agency, we didn't have toys like this. We relied heavily on being remembered. delivering an exceptional service, and then every time someone walked down the high street, remembering people's faces and just going out and saying hello. How's Warwick Gardens? The family warehouse, the dog, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
and becoming remembered. But that's very difficult in this digital age. So the only way you can be remembered is to give something digital they can hold on to and engage with that makes sure that the point at which they're thinking of doing something, they are thinking of your brand.
There's some lovely things that you've referred to along the way there, including sort of the kind of made my eyes light up because I always think it's a hidden and a missed opportunity, and it's so obvious. But the whole thing of mortgage tracker, and for them to be able to sort of calculate equity and loan to value, calculate all of the sort of things that I know worry me when I'm thinking about remortgaging, and it should worry
Yeah.
everybody. But it's also a great opportunity to get in touch with an agent, to get some advice.
Yeah.
And even if you're not going to be selling your house, you may just want them to refer you to a good mortgage broker. There are ample opportunities there for business there. So,
Exactly. Yeah,
and I
you need
think
to be
that,
seen as the catalyst for all those things.
yeah,
And I'd say I'm glad you mentioned it, but yes, the mortgage tracker, the equity calculator. So someone just may wonder, well, what sort of rate can what loan to value do I have to be able to surface that in their room? And the other smart thing we've got is that if they upload their mortgage statement and they put in the amount of their outstanding loan, the type of mortgage it is, what their percentage rate that they're paying, and roughly what they're paying a month as a starting point, our system will constantly monitor their equity. And every time they log in, they'll be able to see exactly where they are now. So they can log in a year later and go, okay, this is where we're at. Okay, they might want to update the value of the property and get a market appraisal. Guess what? They click your market appraisal link to get that. They put that in there and suddenly they know where they're at from a refinance point of view. But when that automated email goes out to say you've got 90 days because your fixed rate's about to an end and it's coming from your agent's brand, where are they going to go for advice to get their next rate?
yeah,
They're going to come to you.
yeah.
It's why
And
it's really valuable to have
And
those things
that's
out there.
important because I think one of I hear this statistic a lot, but you've provided it to us as well when we were sort of prepping. Only about 1 in 10 of buyers will return to the agent that they bought from. That is a
Oh,
shocking statistic, and it should be a mark of shame, but it shows how bad we are at keeping in touch or staying relevant to those people.
I think it's a mix of both. I think gone are the days. No, do you remember there used to be a time to say that the most important person in the transaction was our seller because they're paying our bill, and you could almost get away or think you'd get away with treating a buyer really badly and hit them really hard with a big stick, get stuff done, completely forgetting that they were your seller of tomorrow. And now actually you've got to think about the fact that actually that person, not only are they moving into the property that you managed to sell, it's saleable. That's the hottest property that you had at this given moment.
Yeah.
Why would you then let that opportunity pass you by? That's the person you need to hug. That's the person you need to give them a toy to and say, have this. It's got our contact details in there. At any point, you can monitor your mortgage in there. At any point you want to know what's going on for property, engage with us through this space. But yeah, it'd be lovely to keep contact with you. And by the way, if you're thinking of selling, just trigger the switch in your room and we'll be there. But to give them that, and harvest those future vendors is so valuable, but we just don't do it. We celebrate the seller. Thanks very much. Why didn't we get the bottle of wine? We've got a card. No one's doing a great deal for the buyer. Okay, some agents have got really good at putting cards in and flowers and chocolates in the room, which is brilliant. But they could have been really nasty to them because they want the exchange through, and it's that horrible experience that you've got to now tether with. We're doing this because it's the right thing to do for our client, and you would appreciate it when you're a client of ours in the future, but do it in a really nice way. And then post completion, give them a lovely feeling of welcome to come back and give them something digital to engage with, because that's the world that we live in, unfortunately. I hope you can hear me. I've just got a low bandwidth. Have I pixelated? It's gone horrible. Was it all right?
No, you're back. I can see it. I can see it crystal clear.
Okay, good.
And I'm not bothered by that. I can see it perfect. We'll edit this bit. We'll edit this bit.
Good.
So, Dan, if I can ask you about something else that sort of caught my eye, because I think this is all of what you are saying is music to my ears as an agent and
Mm,
somebody that wants to engage early on with my audience, to stay in touch with buyers, to be that person of absolute relevance to them when they're thinking of selling a property, that it'll be natural to them to come to me because I've made it so easy for them. And I've also
mm,
shown that my interest doesn't just wane at the minute I get paid. It's not just transactional. I'm trying to support them on their onward journey as well, which I think is very important.
mm.
But there is an option, as well as I understand it, for almost like a complete email marketing suite around all of this action that will help you to engage with that. Do you want to just tell us a little bit more about
Well,
that?
yeah, and there's a couple of things. Again, born out of the agents that we're working with, we had an agent that felt that they were completely handcuffed to the technology that they got, and every time they asked for it to do something different, they were slapped with a higher bill. And when his bill got up to about £1,600 a month, they went, do you know what? Maybe there's something else we could be doing, because he's in a position where they wanted to start framing some noise around their financial services business. And again, that was another module. So he came to us and said, look, we love this bit, but could you build a marketing suite? And we went, yeah, yeah, we can build a marketing suite. So, yeah, why not? Let's build a marketing suite that enables you to build campaigns where, in fact, you can upload 100,000 clients if you wanted to, run the first campaign to do a cleanser, invite people to come into the space to confirm their interests, what they might want to hear from you about, to partition them all out, and then build marketing campaigns from then. So it's a subscription model, but you can then nurture, do all your newsletters, all your what's going on at the moment, what's this season doing, how's this month panned out, not selling, just positive, newsworthy noise into that space to people that are interested in hearing it. So those that have come back and said they want to hear from you about your newsletter, brilliant. Those that want to hear about new instructions, brilliant. So we've got all sorts of templates in there. But equally, of course, you could build a campaign out to your contacts to say, come and claim a homeowner room, even if you're not thinking of selling. Or if you do have a homeowner room, or you are thinking of selling, then we're here for you. So yes, there is that. But equally, for firms that go, oh, we've already got an amazing marketing suite, we don't need any of that, we go, that's absolutely fine. So you can invite people into it from the system and just do one at a time. Post completion, you can invite people. Equally, we can present you with a branded single landing page with a unique URL that you drop into your own marketing suite to market out to your existing audience and drive people into that space where they can say, oh yes, I'm a homeowner, want one of these, or yes, I'm thinking of selling, I want one of those. And of course, any of those claims are immediately then presented in your space within your PSD property rooms environment, and you'll see all of those engagements building up and see the opportunities of people that are thinking of selling and all those people that are homeowners that might engage with you at some point in the future, which will automatically be surfacing their contact details into your system. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff we've done recently to the system has been born out of relationships or collaborations we're working with saying, could it just? And we love those because some really nice stuff comes out of the could it justs. What if it did that? And what if it did that? And rather than saying, well, we're not going to do any more until we've got 20 agents that want the same thing, we just go, let's build it, because if it's right for you, there's every chance it's going to be right for someone else. So let's just build that out and make it a so yeah, with lots of really exciting stuff that we've already built. But again, an agent that comes along tomorrow and engages with it may have a brilliant idea. Why doesn't it do that? We'll go, do you know what? I think it's a great idea. Let's build it.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a look. First of all, that's a great attitude. Where you're working in collaboration, I suppose, with the agent as almost like a partner.
Mm,
You appreciate as a supplier that, first of all, from your first-hand experience in agency, but also that you are supporting their journey. It needs to work for them. It really needs to work for them. And
mm,
ultimately, all of this is geared at providing a better level of education, understanding, preparedness for a transaction. But more importantly, it will help the customer service element of everything that we do, because you're getting a higher level of customer experience because it's smoother. It feels like the structure to it. And there is sense behind it. It's not just run because that is the biggest criticism I think from everybody. Once you get going with a transaction, you're quite right with what you said earlier. I think that the pretty pictures and all the nice marketing bit, that everybody's always happy to see their own property online, and that's very exciting. That is not the hard work, though. The hard
Mm.
work comes once you've agreed a sale. And I think what people always say at that point is it feels chaotic. It feels like you're being fired questions by everybody at some point. Your solicitor's asking you for missing documentation. They're not telling you why they need it necessarily. They're
Mm.
just saying, I need this form and I need that form. Now, you don't know what
Mm.
those forms mean or what they do. No one's explained it to you. But this is a lovely structured way of sort of presenting it to them where it makes sense. It's sequential. I keep using the word structure, but I think
It is it.
that
Yeah,
keeps
that
them
is
away
it.
from the chaos,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
It gives
I
them
think
a route.
if you present someone with an environment that has spaces to do stuff, they're either going to put stuff in those spaces and go, I know what that is, or they're going to ask the question, what is that?
Yeah,
All of those things are positive behaviors. What is the TA6? Oh, well, that's the property information form. Where am I going to get one of those from? Have you not got a conveyancer yet? How many people come to you and ask you a question that leads to you introducing them to your most favored conveyancing solution? Not very often. You find you're selling those things. But if you present someone with a space that shows them all the things they've got to do and they ask the question, what's the TA6 property information form? Where am I getting that from? Oh, have you not got a conveyancer yet? Sorry, my fault. I should have introduced you to someone by now because, yes, you really should have someone on board. Let's introduce you to Jane or whoever who's going to have a chat with you about that. And she's going to give you these forms to fill in. And filling those forms in is going to help you to understand all the other paperwork you've got to find. And you'll find spaces for those in your property room. So yeah, it is structure, and that's the really important thing. You know, when you get in a car and put your seatbelt on, you feel safe. There's sort of sense and order and security to it, and we have this very scattergun, last minute. Oh my goodness, please find that quickly. Oh my goodness, it might be too late. Attitude to when it comes to transacting, when actually all people want is to be able to put the seatbelt on and go, we're ready for this.
yeah. No, you're right. And as you're talking there, I'm thinking, if the statistic is that only 1 in 10 of buyers go back to to the estate agent that sold them the property. In my professional career, there have been moments where I turn around to somebody and say, right, which solicitor are you using? And they go, well, I think we used, oh, it's a long time ago now. I think we used Daniel, but I can't quite remember. And they have if they don't know who their agent is going to be and they haven't kept in touch, I can
Mm.
tell you something, their relationship with the solicitors are very, very
Far worse.
transactional.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally transactional. Again,
And I think solicitors
yeah.
are as bad at keeping in touch with past clients as we are. But and part of that is because there is friction in the process, and that your relationship with people at the end of it is not great. So you don't feel like maintaining those relationships necessarily, and they're not going to happen automatically. So
No.
I think there's so much sense in what you're saying, and opportunities for an agent to be almost that connectedness
Mm.
and local networker, so that when you can come to me and I can say, Daniel, look, for a start, I'm going to give you somewhere where all of the different documents relating to your house are going to live. In the event that you ever need to sell, you'll have it all in one place and you'll know what you need to do next. We're also going to make sure that if you haven't got a solicitor, we sort that out so that you know who you'll be speaking to when the time comes. And I think
Mm.
all of these things make utter sense. And it's the
Mm.
sort of stuff that, BNI members probably rattle off in their sleep, but that we as agents need to get better at when it comes
Mm.
to referring people, but also supporting them, and not to do it out of any sort of, yes, there's a bottom line to everything, but it's also there is a bottom line to being prepared.
Mm.
You can cut down fall through rates. You can make sure people are more invested in a transaction. As a buyer, if you come to the table and you see that actually the seller that I'm dealing with and the agent that I'm dealing with have all the information that I need, there are less question marks, there are less sort of pitfalls along the way where it can
Mm.
fall through. So it's absolutely logical, isn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, it is. And again, you can use it however works for you. We have some agents that work with it very loosely, but they provide it as a mechanism to reveal what needs to be done. We have another agent that it literally just says to all of their clients, it properly. And if you don't want to do it properly with us, we don't want the instruction. And they go, well, what does that mean? Well, we take funds on account. This is quite extreme. Get this. So they take funds on account for the seller, from the
Yeah.
seller, and they send the instructions through to us. We open a property room. The client gets invited. Agents are automatically included in that. Local authority search, environmental report, title plan, title deed, title insights report. There's an awful lot that goes into that. And then, of course, the client is in that space being shown all the things that they've got to get done. Conveyancers invited into that space and presenting the seller with the things that have got to get done. And that agent immediately knows how serious that seller is. And the ones that go, we're up for this, we see the value in getting prepared. We understand that if we don't do this thing, it's going to turn into a living hell. So yes, I'm committing to you. That agent has gone from wanting to win everything and not being able to see the wood from the trees and diluting their brilliant service amongst a lot of people that aren't that serious to a brilliant service to the select few that want to actually move. And it's transformed his business. He's transacting faster, his fall throughs are reduced, his sellers are more committed, and the staff are happier.
Yeah.
Because they're just getting stuff done and they can see what needs to be done. And sellers that don't want to come on the journey with them, they go, do you know what? Go and waste someone else's time in the nicest possible way. We're just not the agent for you. But having this tool has enabled them to do that in a really structured way and go, this is how we want to run our business. We are not putting up with the only selling half the things that ever come to the market and then having 30% of them fall through. It's just that they're done with it. They've had years of pain and they've just gone, enough's enough. There is a better way. And we're really glad that it took them 7 years, 6.5 years to come back to us to say help, because we tried to work with them all that time ago and they went, no, we love it chaotic. And they've come back and help. We don't love it chaotic. We've realized this is just affecting our bottom line.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating, and let's face it, we are if the English are a nation of shopkeepers, estate agents are a nation of small to medium enterprises, and running small businesses nowadays, cash flow is what you live and die by, and having a really sort of massively bloated pipeline that never seems to really deliver is what most business owners and in a state agency are complaining about. And so this makes sense because I think it does unlock all of that, and it sort of it shortens the timescales, but it also enables better business to be done by people I think that are more invested in your services than you think.
Can I say, I must say, it sounds, some of the things that we say sound like a cliche. It seems like we've worn them out over the years. And this isn't for every agent. We understand that there will be those agents that stand out there and go, well, I'm not doing it till everyone does it. But if everyone takes that view, no one's ever going to see any progress. To be fair, we don't want to work with every agent in the country. We want to find the ones that genuinely want to make a difference. And that works for us and it works for them. So I get that for some of the viewers, not for you, and that's fine. But if there are any agents out there that go, do you know what, I do want to know more about that. I want to know whether that fits for my business. I want to know how we can use that in our marketing campaign, or how we can use that with our onboarding, or what there might be in it for us. And then just ask, get in contact with us and have a conversation with us about what your needs are, because we don't want to be a one size fits all. And I've said that we're always developing and doing things differently. If we can bend things for you or show you a different way of engaging your marketplace with it, then brilliant. Because all we're fascinated in doing is improving the status quo for the people that are the most important in this, and that is the home movers. And they're the ones we've been engaging with for years.
I was about to ask you that question, and you've answered it. So for those agents that are watching this, the best way to sort of get to see it in action, because I think you can show them exactly how it will look from in the branded scenarios as well. They presumably jump on a call with you, and you're able to walk them through it.
Absolutely, show you every asset, every facet of it. And we had an agent actually just claim a professional account as an estate agent, no problem at all. And she invited herself in as a home seller because it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Inviting, setting up a professional doesn't cost you anything. Brand it, put all your stuff in there, all your staff in there, doesn't cost you anything. Invite a home seller, doesn't cost them anything. So people that are serious about selling their property and you want to give them an environment, it doesn't cost you anything. So you can just come in and give it a go. Go to getlegally.prepared.co.uk, go onto the professional section, open up a professional account and send out a home seller invite and see what that looks like. And then, of course, the only time it's payable, and let's just explain how this works. Obviously, when we're putting documents in a space, storing data in any volume eventually it becomes costly. So when a home seller, someone that's working with you to get prepared to sell, has a home seller room, we have a clock ticking. They've got 60 days to get prepared and get all their stuff out of it. And it's entirely free. 60 days is a really long time, David, right? If someone's serious about selling, you'd like to think that in 2 months, they should have got their stuff together. So it's free. And at that point, everyone is involved in the space. The property lawyer downloads everything, estate agent downloads everything, client downloads everything, job done, move on. Brilliant. A home buyer or new home ownership that wants to retain that space for the duration of their ownership, they pay a fee, a one-off fee that covers data storage for the lifetime they have that space. And that's really the only time it becomes a chargeable thing. We have conveyancers that set that up as part of the disbursements, and they do a post-completion handover and they pay it for their customers. We have others that send out sites where the client pays for it. It's entirely up to them. I mean, we've yet to have an estate agent go, we want to do this, but I think it has real value to throw, obviously if an estate agent wanted to do this, we'd do a deal on the costs, but if you wanted to pay for it, because you said there's real value in post-completion buyers having one of these rooms and you want to fund it to make it easy for them to engage with because you're going to get your brand sticking to them for the duration of their ownership, then you can pay for it yourself, obviously. Otherwise, they can pay for it. But there's all sorts of things we can do. But for the majority, there's an awful lot that's free to use.
Fantastic. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for taking us through that. And it's been good to see how it's evolved and how it's helping people. And I think that story, the agent sort of coming back to it all those years later, because things have changed. I think what hasn't changed necessarily is the home selling process. Yes, it's still that same process, but the timescales have just elongated and become very, very much drawn out. And it's a sense of frustration to everybody. And so this is hopefully the first step. And you were saying before that, you need to be an agent who's forward thinking to sort of adopt this early, if you like, but you won't be way off the future because this is going to come down the line anyway, isn't it? There's a lot of talk about what the government and policies are going to be put in place to do with people's data. This is very much where we're headed.
Yeah, I think you could either wait for things to be mandated and fight it because it's not being mandated in the right way, or as most are opting now, is get ahead of it, try and forge what good looks like and do all the right things now so that when things get mandated, the government itself is seeing what good practice looks like and goes, do you know what, that's a good idea. And it doesn't become as a shock to you because you go, do you know what, I'm doing that already.
Yeah.
So, don't wait until you're told to do it. Do it now and muddle along and let's get it looking brilliant so that, in fact, maybe it doesn't need mandating. If the industry just decides to wake up and do things better, then no one's got a problem. But we've got to start somewhere.
Fantastic. Daniel, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.